Happening now, we look into Jamestown school budget and the possibility for 18 new teachers district-wide, and how the city of Jamestown will be seeking additional code enforcement officers. Plus, with a string of train derailments happening countrywide, we hear directly from railway experts on safety precautions.
Live and on demand, this is WNY News Now.
Thank you for joining us for WNY News Now. I'm Bronson Rasmussen in for Justin Gould. Those stories and more are coming up, but first, a Jamestown duo have been charged for allegedly trespassing in a condemned building, one of which was in possession of drugs. On Wednesday, May 3rd, officers with the Jamestown Police Department responded to a trespassing complaint on 26 North Main Street, the former arcade building, which is currently condemned. Upon arrival, officers discovered 52-year-old Heather Babiak and 46-year-old Jeremy Morris on the top floor of the building. While confronting the duo, Babiak resisted arrest and a brief struggle ensued. After the struggle, officers discovered drugs on her person. Now, Morris was released with an appearance ticket on the scene. Babiak, however, was transported to city jail and charged with resisting arrest and criminal possession of a controlled substance, where she is held pending arraignment. While Village of Fredonia traffic stops led to one man being arrested on weapon charges over the weekend. On Saturday, May 5th, the Chautauqua County Sheriff's Office pulled over a possible impaired driver on Bennett Road in the Village of Fredonia. Officers discovered the operator of the vehicle, 25-year-old Dakota Cordell of Dunkirk, was under the influence of drugs. Upon further investigation, it was discovered that Cordell was in possession of a loaded large-capacity ammunition feeding device, a disassembled shotgun, and AR-15 rifle. In addition, Cordell was operating the unregistered motor vehicle without a driver's license. He was arrested and transported to Profit Substation for DWI processing and DRE evaluation before being transported to Chautauqua County Jail for arraignment. While the City of Jamestown Board of Education heard the finalized version of the school district's proposed 2023 budget, which includes additional hires and much-needed equipment upgrades. The budget included a plethora of items, including planned tutoring, additional hires, and much-needed upgrades. Some of those include a new scoreboard at Shredder Field, renovation of Washington School's nursing office, and a remodel of Purcell Middle School's heating and cooling system. In addition, the school board would hire additional roles to combat the learning drop-off created by the COVID-19 pandemic.
This is a very student-focused budget. In the same way that our capital project is a very student-focused capital project, our budget focuses on our student needs. So we've seen that ELA and math scores across the state and across the country have dropped as a result of, frankly, the lockdowns and the COVID pandemic, and we're addressing that through our student support centers. We're addressing reading and literacy at the elementary level, and we're addressing ELA and math at the secondary level.
The next step for the budget is to go forward with a public vote. Scheduled for next Tuesday, May 16th, participants will have a few options on their ballot.
Option 1 is yes or no on the budget. Option 2 is yes or no on the capital reserve. And option 3 is, and we need folks to vote for 3 out of 4 candidates for the school board. We have 3 open positions. 2 incumbents are running and 1 open position.
Polls are open from noon to 9 p.m. and registered voters can cast their ballot at Lincoln Elementary, Jefferson Middle, or Washington Middle schools. Now later in the week, we will give you an update on the 4 candidates running for the school board. The City of Jamestown is seeking 2 additional code enforcement officers to add to the city's roster. All of this is on the heels of an understaffed Department of Development. The Jamestown DOD only has 2 enforcement officers currently. With the new hires, the department office will be able to effectively address blight within the Pearl City. These 2 positions are for a target area code enforcement officer and a rehab code enforcement officer. Now the positions will address properties in despair and issue all, if any, violations to homeowners. Both roles take around a year of training to be certified. According to the Director of Development, Crystal Serdick, these positions will lessen the load for the 2 current code enforcers and help the city address blighted properties.
one of the positions was planned for. The other one was, just circumstances require us to be able to add and fill a vacancy. So there's certainly a need, as everybody knows. And I know 2 code enforcement officers currently that will be very happy to add to their team.
Now currently the Department of Development is accepting applications, with many already vying for the 2 new positions. While switching gears a little bit, we'll go to our first weather forecast with Chief Forecaster Andrew Stevenson, and it looks pretty nice out there, Andrew.
Yeah, we got mostly sunny skies over the Rain-Off Peaches and Cream Sky camera. About an hour or 2 ago, I noticed that we had an ice cream truck that was parked out there, but alas, that ice cream truck is gone and didn't want to stay with us. So yes, mostly sunny skies over Rain-Off. First defense Doppler radar pretty much clear across the entire region. Not much clouds to report of, not even any rain to report of. So it's going to be another beautiful day out there with more beautiful days to come through the rest of the week. We made it to a high of 61 degrees yesterday. Our low for the day yesterday was 48 degrees. Our records for today, record high 88 degrees, set back in 2015, only a few years ago, and the record low set back even a few years ago, 26 was a record low set back in 2010. So here's your forecast for the rest of the afternoon. Mostly sunny skies across the region. If the skies do look a little bit hazy or milky, that's coming from wildfire smoke. That's coming from Canada. So if the skies would generally be mostly sunny, but with the wildfire smoke, it might make it look a little hazy today with a northwest wind of 5 to 10 miles per hour. Today's highs will range from the mid 60s at the lakeshore to the lower 70s inland. That wildfire smoke might actually make for some nice sunset pictures. So if you're able to get any beautiful pictures of the sunset, feel free to send them in to us on the First Defense weather page. I'll have a look at that full forecast coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, Andrew, we'll see you then. As WNY News Now continues, a record amount of funds has been promised to New York State schools. We have the details coming up. And later, we look into a Philadelphia prison where 2 inmates were able to escape, where no guards were posted. Stay with us as WNY News Now. We'll be right back.
On this episode of Lead and Lures, pro staffer and lethal lady Caitlin Armstrong takes out her big Ohio buck. Months of hard work, dedication, and scouting have led her to this moment. You're not going to want to miss this episode of Lead and Lures on Channel 716 Roku TV. And if you want to see more of Caitlin Armstrong, follow her on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram at Caitlin Armstrong.
Land has been quite the experience.
EagleZip.com is your local one-stop shop for all of your home and business computer needs. Located on Fluvan Avenue Extension, just outside of Jamestown, EagleZip.com sells and services all brands of desktops and laptops, as well as servers and network equipment for your business. All new computer sales include transferring your data from your old computer, plus a 2-year warranty. Call EagleZip.com today.
Stop by EagleZip.com today and let us make computers easy for you.
3-on-3 basketball returns to Jamestown, New York this summer. Collaborative Children's Solutions and partners are hosting a Gus Macker tournament August 19th and 20th in Brooklyn Square. The streets will be packed with a festival atmosphere, bringing the youngest of our Macker mites up to the adult players who compete for the top prize in their divisions. Register online at Macker.com before July 31st. The Jamestown Macker will also include some specialty competitions, making it one of the best community events of the year.
You're watching WNY News Now, where coverage comes first.
New York Governor Kathy Hochul is promising a record amount of funds aimed at school aid in the 2023 budget. Last year, the governor broke initial records when she allocated $31 billion in school aid. This year, however, she was going bigger, vying for $34.5 billion in the 2023 state budget, the highest level of New York State aid in history. Changes include a $150 million increase in pre-kindergarten, $134 million in free school meals and educational opportunities for charter schools. Now, in addition, SUNY and SUNY schools will get enough funding to support transformational and strategic needs.
Last year, as a brand new governor, we broke all records with $31 billion in school aid, the most ever. And I said, well, how do you beat that last year's record? We go even bigger. So this year, we're on track to have $34.5 billion, the largest investment in schools in our state history.
She went on to say that schools are still feeling the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, some union members and state legislators are pushing a bill that would increase penalties for certain sexual offenses committed against corrections officers in state prisons. Our New York State Capitol correspondent Elise Klein talks to survivors and lawmakers about the issue.
In 2018, Anna Vasquez was on duty when an inmate, she says, grabbed and forcibly touched her.
The fear that came over me was overwhelming. For a moment, I felt paralyzed.
Vasquez is not alone. Several other officers and corrections facility employees traveled to the Capitol today to share their experiences and advocate for legislation they feel will better protect them in their workplace.
I hear women in the community voicing their opinions about something like the Me Too movement, and I stand here and I say, where is my Me Too? Why am I the exception to this movement? Why is it okay for me and my friends, my coworkers, my peers to be harassed and threatened and assaulted on a daily basis? Why is it okay?
Some lawmakers don't think it's okay. The Senate and the Assembly currently carry legislation that would increase penalties for certain sexual offenses committed against correctional officers.
Just like as we're walking through these halls here in Albany, we have protections. These correctional officers deserve the same protections as every other workplace.
There's no reason, no logical reason why sexual assault against a corrections officer is not a felony. There should be more penalties for those individuals who commit that assault.
Palmisano adds the implementation of the Humane Alternatives to Long-Term Solitary Confinement, or the HALT Act, have increased the number of assaults in prisons, including sexual assaults. In Albany, Elise Klein, WNY News Now.
Pathways Inc. has announced details for its 2023 annual fundraiser, which is scheduled to take place on Saturday, June 10th, in the auditorium of the Corning Museum of Glass. This year, the annual fundraiser will feature former Buffalo Bills defense end and Pro Football Hall of Famer Bruce Smith. Smith will give an inspirational speech from 7 to 7:45 p.m., and one guest will receive an autographed football. There are 2 tiers of tickets available to purchase. Dinner tickets include a cocktail reception that begins at 5, followed by dinner and Smith's speech. Those tickets are $80 per person and $750 per table of 10. The other option is balcony tickets, just to hear him speak. And due to not include dinner, balcony tickets are $40 per person. Doors open at 6:30 and seating is first come, first serve. To learn more about the annual fundraiser or to purchase tickets, go to pathwaysforyou.org. While a desperate search is underway in Philadelphia for 2 prisoners who escaped over the weekend, authorities admit no one at the prison noticed the men were missing until it was too late. Matt Petrillo, he has the details.
When you cut corners and cut posts, this is what happens.
These are the 2 suspects Philly police are searching for. 18-year-old Amin Hurst, who's been charged with 4 murders, and 24-year-old Nazir Grant, who faces drug and gun offenses.
Being accused of 4 murders, that's serious.
David Robinson is president of the Union for the City's Corrections Officers.
So now we just let someone who's supposed to be incarcerated back out on the street to possibly do something that he was incarcerated for.
Robinson says the inmates cut a hole in a fence to escape in an area of the prison that lacks adequate staffing.
These are the posts where, if we do have an escape, which we did, they're met with these officers and they're armed. So they can actually prevent that from happening. and they weren't there.
That reflects an internal prison incident report Robinson shared with CBS News Philadelphia that reads, both incarcerated people were able to leave the grounds undetected because post being closed due to temporary staff shortage per the order of the executive office.
Once they got out of the gate, nobody was there to stop them.
But this should have been preventable.
It should have been preventable.
The Philadelphia Prisons Commissioner says an investigation is now underway to figure out how those two inmates escaped.
This prison is secure. It's in any other industry. This is not unique to prisons. Wherever you may have lapses in people following across every industry, you have to see what happened and what didn't happen. We're no different.
Investigators say the men slipped away on Sunday night. Prison guards did not realize the men were missing, even though they conducted 3 head counts, one late Sunday and then 2 more on Monday morning. Authorities are offering a $5,000 reward for information that leads on the escaped inmates' capture. Well, today is Jumbo Day to celebrate the fruit of the sea. It's National Shrimp Day, and you don't have to be Bubba from Forrest Gump to enjoy the day. Go out, have some shrimp cocktail, shrimp salad, whatever shrimp dish you like, or make it at home and post to the hashtag National Shrimp Day. Some fun facts about shrimp. Americans consume more shrimp than any other seafood. Shrimp are a good source of omega-3 fats and iodine. And the Bubba Gump Shrimp Company has 40 restaurants across the world. They're actually pretty good. I've actually been there. Well, coming up, we have an exclusive story on railway safety, nearly 3 months since a massive train derailment on the PA-Ohio line. And later, we look into a court case that is not looking in favor towards former President Donald Trump. But first, we'll return with a look at our full weather forecast.
You're watching WNY News Now, where coverage comes first.
Slow down.
Slow down and move over.
Move over.
When you see signs,
Lights.
Vests.
please give us some room.
Slow down.
Slow down and move over. When you need help,
It's our job
To help you.
to save you.
despite the danger.
This danger is real. Do your part.
Please
Slow down. Slow down. And move over.
move over.
3-on-3 basketball returns to Jamestown, New York this summer. Collaborative Children's Solutions and partners are hosting a Gus Macker tournament August 19th and 20th in Brooklyn Square. The streets will be packed with a festival atmosphere, bringing the youngest of our Mackermites up to the adult players who compete for the top prize in their divisions. Register online at Macker.com before July 31st. The Jamestown Macker will also include some specialty competitions, making it one of the best community events of the year.
Have you ever wanted to live out your dreams? Hunt, fish, in all corners of the earth? Well, now's your chance. Follow Primitive Patriot Outdoors as we live out our dreams and show you how to live out yours through outdoor adventures. From Western New York to Africa to all corners of the earth, follow us on this adventure. It's an experience you've never seen before. Lead and Lures, Roku TV, channel 716.
With coverage that matters, this is WNY News Now.
Fast, accurate, and everyday. First Defense Weather.
Welcome back to WNY News Now. Currently in downtown Jamestown, we are under sunny skies at the noon hour with 59 degrees being the current temperature at the Jamestown Airport and a north wind of 3 miles per hour. Well, here's what's happening across the northeast right now, across the Great Lakes. Well, there's nothing happening. High pressure is right across the region, and that's providing dry weather from western New York down to Pennsylvania, all the way over to Ohio and Michigan. High pressure is keeping us all dry. So let's try to find some actual weather that's happening in the United States. We have to go out west for this. The NOAA Storm Prediction Center has parts of the plains under a slight risk and even enhanced risk for severe weather today. The strongest storms today will be found across northeastern portions of Colorado and into parts of Kansas and Nebraska, where they could see some damaging tornadoes as well as some strong damaging winds and some large hail. So if you know anyone out in these areas, you might want to give them a heads up that severe weather is possible today. Back here across western New York, where nothing is happening, Future Scan will take us through the afternoon today with mostly sunny skies, maybe a cloud here or there, but mainly clear skies. Takes us into the night tonight, and we'll do the same thing all over again tomorrow. Future Scan continues to run, but nothing is happening. Partly to mostly sunny skies again for the day tomorrow. It'll be warmer tomorrow as well, and then mainly clear skies through the night Thursday, and we'll do the same thing all over again on Friday. Just not much to talk about in the weather department. Tonight, partly cloudy to mainly clear skies across the region. It will be a bit warmer overnight tonight compared to last night, where some of the valley locations got down in the 30s. Tonight's lows will be in the lower 40s in the valleys to the lower 50s near the Lake Erie shoreline, with winds calm overnight. And now the extended forecast powered by Ultimate Satellite Solutions with high pressure firmly in control. Sunny skies today. Tomorrow into Friday will warm up into the lower 70s. Tomorrow will go upper 70s, close to 80 on Friday. So Friday might actually feel like summer out there. Dew points will actually get into the 50s. So we'll get a little feeling of stickiness into the air. And then heading into the weekend will be mainly dry, but we'll continue to keep a chance of a couple of isolated showers in the forecast for Saturday and Sunday. Temperatures on Saturday in the lower 70s, mid 60s on Sunday for Mother's Day, and we'll stay in the 60s heading into next week, and we'll just copy and paste the weather for Monday and Tuesday.
All right, Andrew, now I got to ask you, how does it look for the weekend for on the lake or in the air?
Other than a stray shower, the weekend is not looking bad.
Well, you'll have to stay tuned to hear how you can possibly be involved with both. Well, here's some headlines from around the nation. In early February, a Norfolk Southern train carrying toxic chemicals derailed along the Pennsylvania-Ohio border. Nearby communities have been impacted by the derailment while the cleanup continues there. Other communities along our railways are growing concerned they too could be at risk of a similar derailment. Our Washington, D.C. correspondent Rachel Knapp spoke exclusively with the Department of Transportation Security, Pete Buttigieg, on these issues.
The fiery Norfolk Southern train derailment in February caused chaos and concern in nearby Pennsylvania and Ohio communities. They were left to deal with toxins and chemical concerns and a cleanup that still continues to this day.
I'm terribly sorry for the impact this derailment has had.
While the CEO of Norfolk Southern has promised to clean up the mess, the crash left a huge gap in people's trust and confidence in our railways.
Well, I've been keeping in touch with people I met on the ground in East Palestine.
In an exclusive interview with the Department of Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg, he says the EPA is holding Norfolk Southern accountable for the cleanup, and they're also keeping a close watch on it too.
We're also making sure that the lessons learned represent a change in the way that railroad industry is treated.
Following the derailment, communities across the nation felt a growing unease about rail safety and worry what happened in East Palestine could happen in their hometowns. We asked Buttigieg what the department is doing to remedy that.
We've taken a number of actions, including stepped-up safety audits, focused inspections, research on safety technology, and regulatory action to keep communities safe that live along railway lines. And I know how that feels because my own hometown had a lot of railway lines going through it. And it's so important to make sure communities are protected. Now, there are a lot of measures that are part of why we've seen railway accidents down compared to decades ago, but there's a long way to go.
He's now turning to Congress, advocating for legislation that would enhance safety procedures for trains carrying hazardous materials, support for communities impacted by rail disasters, and making rail carriers pay for their wrongdoing.
I have said directly to the CEO of Norfolk Southern that they should be supporting this bill, not fighting it. But in any case, no matter what the industry does, this is good legislation, and I'm hoping that Congress gets it to the president's desk so that we can get to work executing on it.
Buttigieg is also slamming the recent Republican budget proposal, saying it would slash railroad safety inspections.
This is no time to be cutting back on safety inspections, and I'm hoping that those House Republicans will reverse course and actually support us on the safety work.
In Washington, D.C., Rachel Knapp reporting.
The U.S. debt ceiling drama is about to start a new chapter. President Joe Biden and top congressional leaders including House Speaker Kevin McCarthy, had a 60-minute sit-down to address the financial threat Tuesday, but talks fell flat without a deal. While the White House wants the spending cap lifted without restrictions, House Republicans are pushing for their already passed Limit, Save, Grow plan that raises the ceiling $1.5 trillion, but cuts some domestic programs. Biden and the leaders are scheduled to continue their talks on Friday, but the clock is ticking. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen says if an agreement isn't reached, the U.S. could run out of money as soon as June 1st. Now, if the U.S. breaches on its debt, the country could face an economic collapse and the loss of millions of jobs, according to Moody's Analytics. Manhattan federal jury found former President Donald Trump sexually abused Jean Carroll in a department store dressing room in the 1990s and subsequently defamed her. Now, Carroll had alleged Trump sexually assaulted her in the Goodman in the spring of 1996 and later defamed her when he denied her claims. The jury found his conduct and sexual abuse sufficient to hold him liable for her civil battery claim, even though the jury found she did not prove her assault and met the rape threshold. The jury awarded Carroll's nearly $5 million in the civil battery and defamation case, while Trump called the verdict a continuation of the greatest witch hunt of all time in a post on Truth Social. His attorney promised an appeal. Today, Trump is expected to take questions from New Hampshire voters in town hall hosted by CNN. Well, next, what happens when you mix a plane and a boat? We'll get you a look on a seaplane. We hear how Lake Erie will be seeing more of these aviation machines.
You're watching WNY News Now, where coverage comes first.
3-on-3 basketball returns to Jamestown, New York this summer. Collaborative Children's Solutions and partners are hosting a Gus Macker tournament August 19th and 20th in Brooklyn Square. The streets will be packed with a festival atmosphere, bringing the youngest of our Macromites up to the adult players who compete for the top prize in their divisions. Register online at Macker.com before July 31st. The Jamestown Macker will also include some specialty competitions, making it one of the best community events of the year.
Have you ever wanted to live out your dreams? Hunt, fish, in all corners of the earth? Well, now's your chance. Follow Primitive Patriot Outdoors as we live out our dreams and show you how to live out yours through outdoor adventures. From Western New York to Africa to all corners of the earth, follow us on this adventure. It's an experience you've never seen before. Lead and Lures, Roku TV, channel 716.
You're watching WNY News Now, your source for breaking news.
Well, some big news for local pilots as 2 new seaplane bases are planned to become operational in Presque Isle Bay and Lake Erie as soon as Sunday. Now, the 2 bases will act as runways for seaplanes and have been in the works for years. Tom Kowalski spoke with local aviators about the new runways.
While Erie is certainly no stranger to planes or boats, it's rare the two meet. That is, until this Sunday, when seaplanes will be permitted to land right on Erie's waterfront.
It'll be in the bay and also in the lake. There's 2 areas.
Greg Hayes, of North Coast Flight School down in Meadville, says this project has been in the work for years, and people can start seeing planes land in lakes throughout the area as soon as this weekend.
When we leave here on Sunday, any of the planes that are still around are going to actually land in Conneaut, Edinburgh, and at the seaplane base up in Erie. So it's open for operation. We're ready to go. We're just getting a few of the particulars ironed out.
He says the base shouldn't be in the way of other boaters, and they're working to train the public about safety when near seaplanes.
This is not something that's going to be a hindrance to those on the water. This is something that is just in addition. So what we end up having to do is educate the public. There will be a seaplane safety seminar here on Saturday. We're just trying to get the word out and get it out in a way where people are comfortable with it.
And Hayes says having a seaplane base close to home would allow him to continue training students in Erie.
Most of my students over the years have gone, some have even gone as far as Alaska to get their seaplane ratings. This would provide an opportunity for people that are interested in seaplanes. We do have so much water around here that it actually becomes something useful because of the lack of airports.
Well, that's all the time we have for today. We'll leave you this live look over Randolph.